George Washington was an enthusiastic dog breeder, particularly of hunting hounds, giving them names like Sweet Lips and Drunkard. John Adams and his wife Abigail exchanged over 1,100 letters during their lengthy relationship, showcasing their deep bond. Thomas Jefferson sold his personal library when the Library of Congress was burned by the British during the War of 1812. He sold 6,487 books from his collection. James Madison was the shortest president at 5 feet 4 inches tall and weighed just over 100 pounds. He served 2 terms and played a key role in drafting the Constitution. James Monroe and his wife Elizabeth attended Napoleon's coronation at Notre Dame Cathedral while he was serving as the American ambassador to the United Kingdom. John Quincy Adams enjoyed skinny dipping, taking 5 a.m. plunges in the Potomac River for his morning exercise. Andrew Jackson once killed a man in a duel over honor. Martin Van Buren was the first born an American. Previous presidents were British subjects, born before America's independence. William Henry Harrison lasted as president for only 32 days, the shortest stint of any president. John Tyler fathered 15 children, the most of any US president in history. James K. Polk secretly bought enslaved children for his Mississippi cotton plantation. Zachary Taylor, called Old Rough and Ready, never voted before being on the ballot himself. Millard Fillmore was the last Whig president. The party imploded soon after. Franklin Pierce was the only president from New Hampshire. He also attended college in New England, Bowdoin College in Brunswick, Maine, where he studied law. James Buchanan played a key role in American diplomacy. In 1853, as minister to Great Britain, Buchanan helped draft the Ostend Manifesto, advocating for an American invasion of Cuba. Abraham Lincoln was notably tall. At 6 feet 4 inches, he remains the tallest US president. Andrew Johnson was the first president in history to be impeached. Ulysses S. Grant was once fined $20 for speeding with his horse and carriage in Washington, D.C. Rutherford B. Hayes was the first president to use a telephone in office. James A. Garfield was ambidextrous, writing Latin with one hand and Greek with the other. Chester A. Arthur had an interesting fashion habit. He owned 80 pairs of pants and often changed them several times a day. Grover Cleveland is the only president to serve 2 non-consecutive terms, making him both the 22nd and 24th president. Benjamin Harrison was the first president to have electricity in the White House. Interestingly, he was so afraid of being electrocuted that he refused to touch the light switches himself. William McKinley was the first to ride in an automobile. Theodore Roosevelt was actually blind in his left eye due to a boxing injury he sustained while in office. William Howard Taft was the heaviest president, weighing over 300 pounds, and once got stuck in the White House bathtub. Woodrow Wilson was the first to hold a PhD. Warren G. Harding gambled away White House china. Calvin Coolidge had a pet raccoon named Rebecca. Herbert Hoover spoke fluent Mandarin Chinese. Franklin D. Roosevelt was the only president to serve more than 2 terms. Harry S. Truman had an interesting quirk about his name. Truman's middle initial S actually does not stand for anything at all. Dwight D. Eisenhower was the first president to hold a pilot's license, and Eisenhower's leadership extended beyond the presidency, having also served as a 5-star general in the United States Army. John F. Kennedy won a Pulitzer Prize for profiles in courage. Lyndon B. Johnson appointed the first African American to the Supreme Court. Richard Nixon was an accomplished musician who could play 5 different instruments. Gerald Ford was a model for Cosmopolitan and Look magazines in the 40s. Jimmy Carter was the first president born in a hospital. Ronald Reagan had an interesting past as a lifeguard, saving 77 people from drowning. George H.W. Bush was notably the youngest pilot in the Navy during World War II. He served with distinction. Bill Clinton is a two-time Grammy Award winner. George W. Bush was the first to have twins. Barack Obama won 2 Grammy Awards for Best Spoken Word Album. Donald Trump is the only president to have a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Joe Biden is the oldest person to ever assume the presidency.